Hi, Craig.
Hi, how's it going?
That's cool. Hi, Dawn. Hi,
Yeah,
Roy.
Dawn and Roy are here, and we got a Dawn dream and a Roy dream. Hey, Roy, what's Roy doing?
Good, good.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. Cat's dream last time reminded Dawn of a dream, and I think this is the one you sent, right, Dawn? I think there was one aspect of it that I see resembles Cat's dream. And yeah, okay, it is. Cat's dream. I after, of course, I think about all the dreams a lot, as you mull them over. But it reminded me of this from Martin Buber. The idea is that what did they call those people? They were starts with an M. It's the manifesting, the manifesting coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the witches who are going to show their gifts and who invoke the unconscious, and then they wait for someone to come. I don't think it's the self. I think it's the devil. The only reason I'm saying that is because of the of how ego oriented it is, and then the last part of it. What was the last part? Can you? Hey, Azine, we're just talking about Cat's dream.
With the stones. The stones.
Oh yeah, with the stones. Okay.
Yeah.
See, so we move from the manifesting coach, who is really, they are, even though they say they're somewhat mystical, they really are personalistic. They're involved with personalistic aims. And so are the witches. And so I just thought of this zine from Martin Buber. He's the guy I studied in. Well, I studied comparative religion, but I sort of specialized in Hasidism. And what I liked about Hasidism is this idea of making holy and sacred the everyday. So in other words, everything that we do is sacred. So this is an aspect of bringing the divine into the ordinary sphere, and anyway, it's just that success is not one of the names of God. It sort of reminded me of Cat's dream a little bit, but then the last part was the healing or the redemptive aspect of both the witches and the manifesting coach. Well, anyway, that was just kind of my summary of it. Hey, Gary, does anybody have any comments on that? Now, we can go to what we might want to do is do Roy's dream first because it's very short, and then Dawn's dream is going to take us a while, because it's got three very important parts. But why don't we, Roy? Why don't we do your dream first because it's fairly short. We'll just spend 20-30 minutes on it, and then the rest of the time we'll deal with Dawn's dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want me to put it in the text or?
I can read it. It's probably not even
Okay.
worth putting in the text.
Yeah. Well, I will put it in the chat here. me see, because it's first of all, I like the name of the dream. It's called the Prima Martyria. Okay, I'm going to put it in here in the chat. Now, this is a dream that you've had is sort of a recurring dream. You know,
I have lots of dreams about my trailer park.
well, yes, but also about emptying basins of water to see
Yeah.
what's down underneath. You know, okay, go ahead.
Okay. This was on October the 28th, Prima Materia. I am at my trailer park, Roy's Trailer Park, which is in my dreams often. There is a large lake there that I am going to drain or clean. I am at the deep end. There are limestone rocks jutting up from the depths. Catfish live down in these depths. I tell some people we should move away from this area because these fish are formidable. I am cleaning in the shallow end. I get a trash can full of debris and haul it over to the trailer park to empty it. I can't find a receptacle or dumpster. I ask people, but they are of no help.
That's it is. This is a dream. Now, what was that one dream that you had about the shallow water, and then there's another one where you're trying to drain a basin of water or something? Yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah. Well, don't worry about it. But this this has happened before.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we are at the trailer park. This is, you know, the idea is we're going now. Did you live at the trailer park yourself?
Oh, no, I didn't live there myself. I lived about
Okay.
a mile away.
Okay, so it's your business. You know,
It's
I
my
dream-
business.
Yeah, my father, well, actually, my grandfather had a meat market. You know, and that's all I ever dream about. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, I haven't been in that thing since for 40 years. You know, it's still been business. But anyway, so we're at a place that we used to have. Now, it is a place where people, we just heard about the caravans in Cat Stream. These are more permanent, they're permanent structures, you know, but they're called Now, let me ask you this. Is it a mobile home park or is it a trailer park?
Well, it's a trailer park because in the Keys, they started putting trailers in there in the 50s and there's nowhere to move them. So people just, they can't move the trailer. They have to sell the whole trailer and they just kind of repair them. So they're these old trailers, the real
But they don't
original
have wheels
things.
on them.
Originally they did to get them there. And then they
Okay.
put cinder blocks under them. They block them up.
Okay.
They're
All right.
like 8 by 40.
Okay.
So the newer ones are maybe 12 by 40, but the original ones are like 8 by 40.
Yeah, that's not a double wide, but it's a wide.
No, not a double wide at
Yeah.
all. It looks like a submarine inside.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
lived
anyway,
in one for a couple of years, not at the trailer park, but when I lived in Bradenton, Florida, I lived in one of these trailers for a couple of years.
yeah, some of them
Like lived in a submarine.
Well, yeah, but some of them, if they really fix them up.
Oh yeah, they got the
They're pretty
fancy double
charming.
wides now, and the ones that they're prefab. You design it and they make it at the factory, and then they bring it in and sit it in on the blocks on the crane.
Yeah, my father and I stayed in one time, and it was. I didn't really know I wasn't in a house, you know.
Yeah, they have some nice ones now.
Okay, well, anyway, it's this place, this business. This is, well, I always dream about business. So what the business, I even though I don't like business that much, I dream about it all the time.
Especially a thonic business, you know,
Yes.
something thonic like a butcher or these old homes that, you know, people at the lower level of society, that's all they have. That's their only entry into the home market.
Yeah, in my case, it's it just emphasizes body, big slabs of meat everywhere, you know, and I've had some just beautiful dreams about it. I'm at my trailer park, Roy's Trailer Park, which is in my dreams often. Now, there is a large lake. So there is a large inland sea, sort of a large body of water, a large lake. It's not a small lake. And that you're going to drain or clean a large lake, okay? You're going to drain it or clean it. So this is this is a vast store of the depths. And somehow you are going to, what I saw in your previous dream is you're going to drain it to see what's down below. I mean, maybe aren't intending to, but you do find out what's below. And okay, now what's coming up is limestone blocks. There's this wonderful scene in the Red Book where the anima goes down into the Red Sea, or not into the sea, and she brings him things up, and she just keeps bringing up these horrible aspects of the history of mankind, but not just the horrible, but just the whole range of human existence on Earth. She keeps bringing it up one at a time to show him what it looks like. And in this case, limestone rocks, right where we live right now is a big limestone bluff with clay soil above it. And limestone, that means that it was a sea. There was a sea above this Iowa. There was a sea, and all of the
skeletal remains.
Yeah, the crustaceans with the shells fell to the bottom of the sea. They gradually dissolved into calcium carbonate or something, which then became stone. And so every once in a while, you can look through when you cut open a limestone, you'll see fossils too, of beautiful, those little spiral cone things. So anyway, you see the limestone rocks, which imply almost like the stromatolites. They are ancient forms of life. That is a fossil, limestone. Limestone is a fossil. It's what's left over from millions of years of animal life. Now, you tell some people we should move. Catfish live down in these depths. Great big, we used to have people go behind the dam where we live, and there'd be 100-pound catfish as big as they were, just these huge catfish. And they are, they can grab you and pull you down, or I don't know, but they're just they look very ominous. Also they're catfish. It's you have, so they're somewhat related to cats, which you have a lot of cat dreams too. So there's a feminine aspect of the cat, and so it's these beings in the unconscious. Now, catfish also, they're not quite like sturgeons, but they're, sort of look very old. They are old. They're venerable. Some of them could be 100 years old, and they're just very old fish. So they're venerable aspects of what is down below. Now you're cleaning in the shallow end, and you get trash cans full of debris, and you haul it over to the trailer park to empty it. There is no receptacle or dumpster. So this junk that you're finding in the depths,
the shallows.
Yeah, in the shallows of the lake, there is no place to dispose of it. Now, I have had a dream like that too. This was the anima had a bulging bag of trash. It was just huge. And she was collecting everything I had thrown away. And she put it into a big bag, and it turned into gold. So everything I threw away. So usually what is discarded is what we are discarding are the rejected. I remember the philosopher's stone is the stone the builders rejected. You know, I mean, the orphan stone was the stone the builders rejected. So you're collecting all the rejected things, and in the ordinary world, there is no receptacle for these rejected aspects that are found in the depths. You know, so anyway, we're plumbing the depths in a very strange way. We're lowering it down so that it becomes visible. You know, there's a scene in one dream that in Jung's that he's looking down into this great canyon, and this this helicopter comes up, you know, from the way down, and it comes up and just stares there and looks at him. But it's aspect of stuff that is below comes above. Okay, let's just, Azine, what do you think about it?
Well, I'm just writing a little bit notes. I think limestone, as you said, might relate to collective unconscious, while the lake might be the personal unconscious. So the elements that are there are limestone and catfish, which might be elements of collective unconscious and elements of female conscious, right? If cats are related to feminine in your dreams, I don't know. But anyways, I think limestone and catfish, you can also do some association, personal association with them to see what they are. Also, you're cleaning up the shallow part of the lake, and you don't know what to do with the garbage. So it kind of reminded me of these two approaches that we talked in recent sessions, that in depth psychology and in alchemy, the wounds and the traumas are, and the poison, they are treasure, they're the prima mater. So we transform them to something valuable, like there's treasure in darkness. This is the attitude, in general attitude in archetypal psychology, Hillman psychology, and I believe Jungian psychology. While in Freudian approach, you want to get rid of stuff. Like you have this idea of healing the trauma and getting rid of unwanted stuff, which I think are different approaches. And I think in your dream, you're trying to find somewhere to dumpster or something to put all this stuff and just get rid of them. But this is a question that dream asks you, what are you going to do with all this garbage? And that's it. That's all I could think of. I don't know.
Well, we can't forget, and that was very good, Azine, that the name of the dream is Prima Materia. So I think
Oh,
that,
really? Yeah. And I like that you named the dreams.
yeah, that's what Robert Johnson says. You need to name every dream.
Wow.
So anyway, that I think that is what sort of what Roy is interpreting. Kat, did you have any comments about it?
Only really about the limestone, which I did think of, like what you said about fossil, but then I was thinking about the catfish, and in the dream it feels like more like a sort of mythological kind of creature. That's what it feels like. I know it's a catfish, but for me it has that kind of quality in the dream, something big and something to either avoid or, like Moby Dick.
That's what I was thinking, Moby Dick.
You know
Now,
what I mean?
who's Moby Dick? He's God. Just
But there's
saying.
something that it's, but I was also thinking about their whiskers, what the
Yeah.
sort of little beardy bits, and like cat whiskers, and how cats use them to sort of get around or just feel energy. I don't know, but the same thing. I was thinking like that with the beards almost being like some kind of antennae to sort of feel your way through situations or moods or and then I thought of again the waste and pollution, and it's in the shallow end, so it's more kind of manageable, but the fact that I can't find a place to dump it, and I ask people and they're no help, it's kind of like, well, are they meant to help at all? I mean, what are these people supposed to do with the rubbish? Which makes me think of, well, I have to do something or find a way to do it myself or recycle it some way. I mean, that's what I thought of.
Well, and read what Dawn just said. What is a catfish? The scavenger. You know, I mean, and he's pulling up the trash from the depths. And these formidable catfish is reminiscent of Moby Dick, you know. Well, Gary, hi. I didn't know if I greeted you, but how are you doing?
Good. So there's an element of avoidance in this dream. And oh, I was going to say the catfish, remember, I forget which Young book it's in. Maybe I think it's the one. Well, they have a picture of the two fish that are circling each other between the two
Oh,
shores.
yes. One's going one way and the
And
other.
I think, and it was like, and I think it was symbolic of being between the conscious and the unconscious.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and this kind of reminded me of that. But there's this whole element of avoidance in this dream. We see it in both parts, because he's going to drain or clean it. But, as he becomes aware of the heaviness, which I think the limestone sort of represent as well, that that he's in for a lot more than he really recognized. And then, the catfish, which are formidable, and he tells everyone that they should move away. And apparently he does too. But then, so he's moved away from trying to deal with the deep end. And now he's going to work in the shallow end. And so, he collects the prima materia, but he isn't working with it. He's looking for a place to dump it. And then instead of using this as the Negredo, he's asking other people for a receptacle. And of course, and that would be the wrong question. It's the wrong question to ask. Because, it should be the alchemical action at that point. So to me, it's I would ask, like, well, is there something in your life that that you're thinking about approaching and then backing away, that that your unconscious is maybe commenting?
And we might, Gary, that was wonderful, because maybe we are the receptacle. The reason there's no receptacles in there is we are to be the receptacle of what we find down there.
Right.
And so there is no outward receptacle. The
Exactly.
outer world rejects it.
It's looking in the wrong place.
Don't look for a receptacle out here, Roy. There is a receptacle, but it's not out here. Roy, now you always have a take on these that kind of always throws us a curveball. So go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I am the curveball master.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at it as the collective unconscious and the personal unconscious. The collective unconscious is the deep water. I'm not going to mess with that because that's where the mysterious tremendum is.
Yes.
Kraken, Thulu. We just going to stay out of that. So I figured, well, we'll clean up the shallow end, personal unconscious. Well, this repressed stuff I have, and probably everybody else has repressed stuff. We'll work with the personal unconscious, the shadow, but it's nowhere to put it on planet Earth in the physical. They don't want it. Nobody wants it. It's like the elephant in the room. So I'm just probably going to have to dump it back in the water. There's nothing I can do. So it was an attempt to work with the unconscious, but there's nothing to do on planet Earth. I mean, it's no receptacle for it. And so it's just, it's futile. It's a futile task.
Yeah, and I think to what Gary was saying, that and adding to what you just said, is there is the deep water we're not ready for, but we can deal with the shallow area. What's in the shallow area? We can deal with. Here's that picture and you kind of mentioned this, is that there's one for the personal unconscious and one for the. Now, isn't this a beautiful picture? I don't know if you guys have ever went to these alchemical emblems, but they start off there's these two lands. There's no bridge between them, and then as you keep going, pretty soon there's a bridge. Well, it starts out there's just forest, and it's just sort of the idea is that you're as you deal with the unconscious, it unfolds, and it becomes more populated with consciousness, and so it starts to be less prima materia and more symbolic. See, the prima materia is that those contents of the unconscious that have yet to be differentiated. Okay, this is what the anima says in Aurora Consurgens: do not reject me because I am black and covered with muck. It's your lack of attention that makes me so. So by lending, this is the whole idea of alchemy and the vessel, by lending attention to those things. Now, the receptacle, okay? Now, in alchemy, those things you found there would be located in the receptacle, and then we would stare at the receptacle. And by staring at the receptacle, we heat it up. And by heating it up with the light of ego attention, the dragon becomes a unicorn. I mean, the idea is the prima materia of the dragon, which is very dangerous, can transform into the unicorn. Then it transforms into the king's son eventually, the divine child. But the only way it can do that is through finding those things in the shallow part, the ones that we can deal with now. And the limestone blocks to me are just the collective wisdom of the ancestors. It's just this collective wisdom of the ancestors that have been revealed. Why did you say limestone? Why did the dream say limestone? Why didn't it say just boulders or rocks? No, it said limestone. These are rocks that are formed by living creatures, and so it has this ancestral quality that as we now see what we're doing too, through this draining is we are making the things that are in the depths available to our awareness by having them go away. You know, there's that dream Kat had where she takes the staff, puts it in the water, they separate, and then she can go see here. But now the ego consciousness is going and collecting these things. But there's no receptacle in the outer world. And it is also, even though we call it prima materia, you know, prima materia is what becomes the alchemical gold at some point, you know. And so
Nobody wants it.
yeah, nobody wants it. It's the stone the builder rejected. And the idea that there is no receptacle out here says, Roy, you cannot find there is no receptacle out here. You are the receptacle. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to carry around the objects, but you have to integrate and assimilate what you found there within, you know, consciousness and conscious awareness, you know. So the receptacle is our own soul, you know, or our own awareness or whatever. Well, anyway, does anybody else got any more further thoughts about this? And Roy, maybe you can sum up too at the end.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the same thing that you said. First of all, I think the fish is usually consciousness in movement.
Yes.
That an element from unconscious or conscious is moving in the psyche. That's how
Pisces, you know.
Yeah, it's moving. The energy is moving somehow. But I was also asking this question. I want to ask this question: that could the garbage be related to the business? Because the scene that it happens, the lake is in your business side, right? So I think when you were talking and Craig was talking about this unwanted elements of unconscious, and you said what I was just thinking, you said it, that there's no use for it. Like we have this inner journey, we work on our dreams, we read books, but how do we integrate all this in our daily life, in our business? You know, that's the recycling or upcycling thing that should happen. So I think there's a question here for you, as I mentioned before, and there's this challenge that, and you also said that you don't want to go deep into collective because it's mighty and it's like dangerous and deep. And also Jung suggested that we do not dive into unconscious, especially collective unconscious, because it's dangerous, it's too deep. But when the elements from unconscious, collective, or personal, they come to the surface, it's different. It means that the gates of the ego allowed us to receive these elements. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but at a certain point, you're beyond personal unconscious and things start coming from national unconscious or ancestral elements or collective unconscious. And I think at this point, you don't see any use for them. Like catfish is not wanted, right? That's how they get old, because everybody throw them back into the water, and limestone as well. So, and even the elements from personal unconscious seems to be garbage. So I think the dream is suggesting a change of attitude in dealing with unconscious material. And it's a very challenging task.
I just say one thing about, you know, one time I asked to see the face of the Great Mother and she appeared and I immediately just startled. I could not look on her face.
Oh my God.
It was like like not more than just an instant. It was too much to look at. And I think
like Moses asked to see God,
yes,
and there's this fire. We cannot tolerate. It's too heat. It's just too much. No?
and I think the idea too is that who was that Maria Prophetessa? In the one we dissolve. We're the dewdrop in the cosmic sea. In unity. In unity, nothing happens. So when we get into the realm of the self and everything, this is what Marie-Louise von Franz says. It's like a black hole, okay? And a black hole has an event horizon. There is so much gravity in a black hole that light can't escape the black hole. That's why it's black, and she says it's called the event horizon. Now, she thought that both the self was inside that black hole and we can't ever go into it. And the second aspect was she thought also death so it was somehow behind the event horizon a little bit, not completely. There was when Jung died, there was a woman had a dream about him that they were all at a party, and in the front, their clothes were all the same. In the front, everyone wore bright forest green, and in the back was just black as night. And she saw a big black wall. There was a cutout of Jung in it, and Jung walks into the cutout and disappears. But I think the idea is that the only thing that we can deal with as far as images are concerned is through soul making, through the making of soul. Now, the soul has a very intimate friend with whom she confides in always, and that is the formidable catfish, or Moby Dick, or the self. She is able to be the bridge to that, but that's why you need an intermediary, because you cannot. I think that once you have crossed into that realm, you're not there anymore. There is no ego. There's no you anymore. So at that point,
I think the ego is the vessel, is the alchemical vessel. And I think working with unconscious changes ego, makes it permeable, makes it flexible, expands it. And I just remember a couple of dreams that I had encountering with the unconscious elements, like gods and archetypes, or this mentor archetypes appearing in the dream. And I remember a couple of them that I was seeing them as these huge figures, like really, really tall and big. And I was just like an ant, little thing. And I remember in one of them, I said this to this person or guru, that this is not your style to show me how big and mighty you are. Why are you appearing like this to me? And he bent, he took my little tiny hand, like an ant's hand, and gradually he stood up. And as he was standing up, I was growing. So I grew to almost his size. So my interpretation of this dream is that at some point, when you encounter these huge archetypal energies of unconscious, your ego, little by little, will learn to be flexible, receptive, and transformative, right? So it's gonna change the ego, because the ego is ultimately the vessel, right?
The empty vessel. Yeah, it needs, that's the idea, is it becomes a beautiful, strong vessel, but then it drains itself and allows the unconscious contents to come in. And this is the idea of all of history, according to Jung, has been the progressive incarnation of the divine in the outer world. You know, so anyway, Roy, it really is a beautiful. Do you want to add any any other things that you can think about?
Well, I just feel like my curveball, there was no receptacle for it, no dumpster for it. It's just like the war in heaven between good and evil. We make so much plastic in this world. We were sending it to China. They don't want it anymore. We're sending it to the Philippines. They take it. They get paid to take it. Then they go dump it out in the ocean. We don't care because it's unseen and it's way the hell from us. And I don't feel like we're doing anything. There's no place for the war in heaven in planet Earth. We're not doing anything. We're just fiddling. And so I'm just putting it back in the lake. I just put it back in the lake. You know, that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I think the reason that is happening, just my own opinion, is that we're in the death throes of Pisces, you know, where the ego is God now, you know, and it's very disorienting. It really is very disorienting. Okay, well, anyway, that is Roy, that is a dream to keep in mind with all your other dreams. And I was trying to relate it to the dream you had right before about the 2 nights, you know, but I don't know. I was trying to work on both dreams. Anyway, why don't we do that later? Because it's going to take us a while to get through this dream, and it's so fun. I think we want to give it some time. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have this. Did you want to read the dream, Gary, or not? Yeah, we got to unmute. Okay, are you there, Gary?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I definitely, well, wait, I think I need to go up. Okay, frozen.
Yeah.
I'm in an office as a client of some type to someone. It is a nice room, large, with lots of books on the shelves, as in a library. The lighting is dim, the seating is leather, and I am asked to recline and put the headphones on and relax. I am asked, what do I want? And I try to think of the best way to respond. So I bring up my chronic headaches and I say to him, hang on, new computer here. What do I want? And I try to think of the best way to respond. And so I bring up my chronic headaches and I say to him, maybe you will know something the others don't. Upon waking, I wonder why I answer the person the way I did, feeling my anxiety is more important. And I should have brought that up instead. Scene change. I'm chasing someone, but I don't think I know who exactly. I chase them into a strange house. Then once I'm upstairs, I look and see that he has run outside and is leaving. I don't know him. I have a feeling in me like I don't want him to go. He yells out to me as he is leaving, "You win." I answer back to him, "Is that because I keep thinking you are good?" And he says, "Yeah." I don't feel like he meant it at all, though.
Yeah, then the next part starts.
Yeah, hang on.
I can
Because
put
you
it-
aren't, Is that because you
I
aren't?
definitely felt
Okay.
like,
I definitely felt like something more was going on. I don't know what he means by saying that. I won, but it gives me a bad feeling that whatever I won wasn't going to be in my best interest, and maybe I should be worried about it. So with me still in the house in the upstairs hallway, I found everything frozen. There was a very young girl stuck through the door, I'm guessing.
yeah, she's impaled the door.
Got it. I could only see from her waist down. It looked as if someone had thrown her like a javelin at the door, and she pierced it with half of her body. It seemed like everything must have frozen at that point. I feel afraid that everything is freezing. Scene change. There were women that were associates of the man who had given me the headphones. And they left the office and went into the street like they were participating in a parade. I didn't see any other people though, so I don't know why I thought that.
What they were doing, I think,
Yeah,
It's-
sorry, I'm having problems with this mouse.
sometimes my mouse, when I try to scroll down, it scrolls up.
Right.
And somebody gave me a left-handed mouse one day. Let's try using
wow.
that. What they were doing, I think, is collecting money for a charity, as in the way you find people collecting for the Salvation Army. So, you know,
Oh, yeah, good.
that's the dream.
Yep, sorry, I lost.
No,
my
that's good. Somebody gave me a left-handed mouse the other day, and oh my God, I said, I cannot use this thing. All right, well, let's just go through it real quick. Now there are, I think, 3 or 4 parts, and we have to consider each one independently. But I almost think like they alternate. That one scene is for the third, and the second is for the fourth. You know, so we're in an office of some type. So we find ourselves somewhere where we're seeking treatment. Okay. And it is in a library, a place where there's lots of books on the shelves. So it's full of wisdom. Many volumes of thick texts are all over the place. And the lighting is not bright, it's more subdued. So the ego light has lessened here. Now, the seating is luxurious, and we're asked to become prone, lie down, and put on headphones. Now, this is a very important image in Dawn, the headphones. And it's an idea, I think, of shutting out the world a little bit. But I mean, maybe she can expand on that. But I'm not saying that's, I don't know what it means, Dawn, but maybe you can help us out, because I know it means a lot more than that to you. Okay. Then I was asked, what do I want? And I tried to think of the best way to respond. So in other words, at this point, we're getting an invitation from some place of great importance to like Parsifal asking the Grail King, what ails you, uncle? You know, I mean, we have a chance right now. Like, say, if we were to go to a magician and say, what can I do to help you? And then you hadn't thought about it before, and now you have to answer. Well, maybe your problems are so vague, you really haven't clarified them in your head yet. And you're going to ask the wrong thing. So you wanted to find the best way to respond. So then we bring up physical ailments and say, maybe, you know, in our head aches. And maybe they know something others didn't, because no one could cure these before. But then as we wake up, say, no, it's the wrong answer. What we needed to say, we needed to mention our um, we needed to mention our just our unease. Our general unease, our anxiety is far more important to be healed than the physical aspect, than the physical ailments. That is a deeper wound. Okay, and then okay, then the scene changes. We are pursuing an unknown man. We follow him into an unknown house. Okay, now we ascend and we go up. And when we're up there, we see him fleeing the house. So it seems as if he was leading us into this house. And once he gets us into the house, he leaves. And then we have this feeling that was it him we wanted or something else? But we know his absence is going to be a great loss. And he seems to kind of read our minds when there's this feeling inside like we don't want him to go. And he yells out as he's leaving, and it seems sarcastically or non-genuinely, "You win," he says, okay. And you answer him back, "Is that because I keep thinking you are good?" Okay, now we not have to know who you is. It's this unknown man. And he just answers, "Yeah." So, it's not exactly, he's not exactly, that wasn't exactly reassuring. So we don't feel like he meant it at all. It definitely feels like something more is going on. He does not seem sincere. Our victory seems like the fact that he said we won seems to be a way of saying, stop pursuing me, or whatever it is you want, you got it, or something. But he's not genuine. There's something missing here, and then additionally, and this is where I think Dawn said it was resembling Cat's dream of the egoistic manifesting coaches and the egoistic witches. I don't know what he meant by saying I won, but it gives me a bad feeling. Whatever I won, it will not be may not be in my best interest. So this victory does not really seem like a victory for our essence, for our soul. It's a victory for something else, like the victories that the manifesting coach or the witches would give us, Now, okay, that's scene 2. Okay, the chasing the man. He leads us into the house. This is after the answering the question wrong in the therapy. In the one who can heal us, we answered the question wrong. In the second one, we're led into a house. The person who led us there flees and tells us we won, but we don't think that this is much of a victory. Okay, so now we're in the house and we're upstairs, and we find everything frozen. Okay, so now what does it mean when you find everything frozen? The idea is ice, the lack of human warmth. There's, let's see if we can find some more things. The idea is rigidity, frigidity, brittleness, impermanence. It's opposed to the fresh and living waters of the fountain of paradise. So it's an aspect of where the fresh and living waters of the fountain paradise, ice is rigid, frigid, brittle, and impermanent. And it also denotes hardness of heart, the coldness and absence of love, and it also represents the rational thinking aspect that doesn't have, where the feeling is absent. And melting ice is often the softening of the hardness of the heart. And it is unyielding by nature. It sometimes means the death of the soul, earthly. It principally, it's the stultification of the potentialities of water. And ice is the rigid dividing line between consciousness and the unconscious. So to some extent, the rigidity of ice is shutting out the fresh and living waters of the unconscious. There's an aspect there that the fresh and living waters of paradise are rigid and not flexible. Okay, now there is a very young girl who is half on this side of the door where it's frozen and half on the other side of the door. So she's at a threshold crossing, and she is half in one side and half in the other. I was just, trying to find some pictures, of that scene, and all we see is the lower half. So the lower half is in the frozen side. Now the lower half would be now this Azine, the difference between the Minotaur and the Centaur, the Minotaur, his upper half is animal, and the Centaur, the lower half is animal and the upper half conscious. But the idea here is the lower half is frozen in the frozen rigid side, So the instinctive aspect, our bodily aspect, which would be represented by the Centaur, is frozen, especially the growing aspect of it. Okay. And then, so she just we don't know how she got there. It looks like she ended up, the growing feminine within us, the growing child within us has its lower half of the body in frozen ice, and so that's the more instinctive side of us. Let me tell you, my wife's father, who was probably the greatest man I ever knew, he was a theologian, but he had a dream that he was driving a refrigerated truck, and it was in the back, it was filled with animals in suspended animation in the cold, like they were in cryogenic freezer or something. Now that's the theologian's dream. What do you think about that? I mean, it's sort of a typical theologian's dream. The body is on ice. Okay. So everything, it seems cold and dead, and there's no human warmth there. Okay. Now we move to the last scene. Okay. Now there are the feminine aspect of the associates who had given us headphones. So anyway, I think the ones who gave us headphones, they're not manifesting coaches or witches. They seem to be a little. They know they are not egoistic. There's nothing egoistic about what they're doing, and this is the feminine aspect of that. Now they left the office and went into the street like they were participating in a parade. Well, a parade is a ceremonial procession, and it usually means it's celebrating something or other, or it could be, celebrating a holiday, celebrating a marching at, say, like after World War II is over, everybody marches through the streets. It's an aspect of some victory has been achieved or something. But now, you know, we don't see any other people, so we don't know why we would think that. The women from the headphone office have left to go on a procession. That was our first initial thought. You know, I always used to tell my wife that you have to have it evenly balanced in a parade. You can't have everybody in town standing waiting for the parade because you'd have nobody, no one could be in the parade. And you can't have everybody in the parade marching down the street because you don't have anybody watching the parade. You know, you have a kind of a balance. But anyway, that's this aspect of the parade. And because there's no one there. There's no one there. So how could there be parade if there's nobody there? We look out and there's nobody there. It's sort of just a thought that we had, that there's some type of processional. Okay, what is a processional? I don't know. Okay, but then it's also related to, so it's a sort of a parade. It's not a victory parade, but it is a parade to heal the weak aspects of us, you know, something, you know, like the Salvation Army. I think there's still, that we thought they were going on a parade, but it isn't really a parade. It's sort of a door-to-door donation drive or something like that, you know. But anyway, does anybody want to have some comments about it? Roy, do you have any?
Tackle it. Or unless, go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. It just seems so much like a victimization. The therapist is trying to help, but he doesn't seem like he's able to. But Don chases him or wants to help, but she's such a victim. I think the parade's for her, a charity for her, because, you know, that's what they do for victims. They raise money for them. What else can they do? You know, raise money for them. They can't really help them. I don't know. I'm just lost. Take it, Gary.
Okay, so we begin, you know, she has this possibility of talking with someone who is actually able to help, but there's a lack of consciousness. It's like when you're asleep and you can't get fully awake, so you can't think straight, you can't ask the right questions, so she can't ask the right question. And so, you know, the time that was available is lost. And so then we go through the scene change. Now she's chasing someone. But, you know, in a way, you kind of, there's some duplicitousness here, you know, you feel like, you know, she thinks she's chasing, I think she's being led, and she's being led into a position which the other person is trying to make her believe that she's created this position herself. But really, she's been led into it. And, you know, and now once you're there, you know, now you're in this frame and you're just trapped. And that's what the woman who is stuck through the glass door, you know, you can't get in and you can't get out. And so, you know, that's the whole thing. You know, it's like you're just frozen, you know, and that was a really good name for the dream. But it was duplicitousness, you know. It wasn't, it's not, that house doesn't represent her position at all. And she needs to, you know, she needs to go back and question some things that, you know, that she thinks were her beliefs or attitudes, but really were, you know, she was just manipulated into. And then what else do we have? You know, the woman that the headphones are like a connection to another dimension. You know, without the headphones, she doesn't have access. You know, without the headphones, she wouldn't hear any of this other stuff. So, I think that actually, that was kind of like kind of the magical connection to the other thing. And then when the women leave and they go into the street, and I could easily have this wrong, but this to me is that, it's just showing that, again, it's a disconnect because they're, I don't think it's collecting money for a charity or anything. I think they're just relating, and now they're kind of going about their life. And once again, Dawn's frozen halfway in and halfway out. And so she isn't able to follow the female element and the relating that they're doing in the community, in the community spirit. So that's my taking on it.
I want to hear what Izine and Kat says, but I just want to make a quick comment about the headphones. This is a divine instrument for Dawn, really is. If you read what she said about the binaural recordings, she did those, and what was that name? It was like Solfeggio, or I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's a tonal music that you listen that changes consciousness. And Dawn has been trying to use this. So it's sort of resonating in this dream a little bit. But this was something that happened in the outer world. But it is a divine instrument for her. And it's not to be, it is very important, the headphones. She used to have a picture of herself wearing headphones. And I think her father told her one time to stop wearing the headphones all the time. Why do you wear the headphones all the time? And it's an interesting question. I don't even know if Dawn can answer it. What do you think, Izine?
I have a couple of questions. I have a feeling, I'm not sure. We cannot really interpret other people's dreams or label them. I don't think we can compare people's dreams to each other. What I feel, and Dawn may agree or disagree, is that the first and last scenes are kind of related. In general, the dream, I think, is more on personal unconscious level than collective. Like, I don't see a lot of archetypal elements in the dream. They're more representative of inner figures or dream characters instead of archetypes. So I think the first and last scenes are related somehow to spirituality because she mentioned it. And I think the systems, they say that they can heal you. They're doing charity and all this stuff. It all seems good. But I think at some level, she cannot relate to them or cannot relate to them anymore. And I see her more in the girl at the start. So my questions are, first of all, is there a relationship between, do you feel related to this girl? Do you feel stalked? And just like there are two levels of problems, you can say I have a headache, but the real issue is anxiety, or the real deeper issue is that you're somehow stuck in something. But the manifestation that the spiritual people or spiritual approach can claim to help, it doesn't feel functional to me anymore. And so the first question is, do you feel a relation to that girl? Because the next scene is about frozen, everything being frozen, stuckness, and the girl's position is stuckness. And something threw you, through this girl at this door, just like she was thrown into this situation somehow. That when we marry, we are somehow thrown into a situation that it's just unprecedented for us. But anyways, the second question is that who are these two men? is any of them related? Do any of them feel like related to your husband? Or any man that you know in your real life, like a teacher? You know, so these are my questions, and I think I see it more at on a personal, unconscious level. But it's definitely brings some feelings. Pay attention to the feelings that you have about this dream. When you woke up, did you feel shocked? Did you feel that something's not working, or the reverse? You felt that there were opportunities for healing and you didn't take them. The first thoughts that came to your mind and feelings are really important, and that's only you who can talk about these feelings or thoughts.
Just a few quick comments. That a lot of Dawn's dreams in the past have involved a fact that she needs, her awareness needs to be lifted out of a hole, a deep pit, but she can't get out of the pit.
That's stuckness again.
Yeah, no matter what she does, other people's rockets come from the bottom of the pit and go up, and they land outside the pit. But hers only go horizontal, you know. And then there's other aspects where she flies into, or not her, but someone just flies right into a post, you know. And then there are other aspects where she, kind of like Charles, is trying to save someone. Maybe the man I chased, he made
Yeah,
me
that was my feeling too. That
it's my husband. I must be quiet about that. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it out loud. Okay. Shh. Okay, no problem. But I think there's also been a figure in Dawn's dream of this sort of resonating salvation, sort of a resonating redemption. There always seems to be redemptive aspect in her dream, even though maybe it doesn't manifest itself in her life. The redemptive force is visible, but it's somehow we're stuck and we can't attain it. Kat, what do you think? I mean, you have Azine, that was really good. Maybe
I want to add something else that I see.
Sure.
I see a kind of separation from between like upper part, torso, and up and
Yes.
lower part.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought about that. The lower half is frozen.
Yeah. Lower half could be animalistic, sexual, body, financial, marriage, anything related to mundane daily life. But I think, and in this case, if there's stuckness in that part, spirituality can be compensation for that. But in order to become whole again, these two parts have to merge and become one again.
And up till now, the upper half's not visible. It's not visible to us. That aspect of us that is the upper part, the growing thing of the divine child, is on the other side of the door, you know. And it's not, we can't see it. So we're seeing the stuck aspect of ourselves, and the stuck aspect seems to be in the mundane world, as Azine is saying here. You know, Kat, what do you think? Now, this is something I think I see some affinity with some of your some of the dreams you have and hers. What do you think?
Well, firstly, I like the place to go and for help as such is in the library, because the place for me would be a place of reference and knowledge, and the fact that, you know, there is an invitation to relax and listen to the headphones, to actually go within, listen with the inner ear, and do away with any distractions. The chronic headaches I will come back to. But then I wonder why I ask a question about the chronic headaches rather than my anxiety. Um, I'll get to that in a bit. Right, so the thing of being chased, sorry, chasing somebody and chasing him to a strange house. Now, to me, the person that is Dawn in the dream is chasing, for me, felt like a kind of shadowy trickster kind of energy, because um of what she says and what he says back to her. You're like, well, he says, like, you know, you win. But I kind of feel like there is a wanting to let her believe that. It's almost like I'm trying to make something be something that it's not. And also there is an element to me knowing that I want something to be a certain way, but I know it's not. And I'm persisting, even though I feel I get a bad feeling about it. So there's something about kind of ignoring the instinct, ignoring the gut instinct and persisting and trying to make something be what I want it to be, rather than accepting it for what it actually kind of is. Sorry. Then I see a young girl stuck through a door, and I can only see her waist down, and it looks like someone's thrown a javelin at the door, and she's pierced, and it's the lower half of her body. Now that's something to me. Now, frozen and ice means for me numbness, but some ice preserves things. It puts things on hold. It puts things on ice, so that I feel, because it's the lower part of the body, it's something to do with instinct and sensuality, and somehow that frozen stuckness is coming out as chronic headaches in some way. And I do feel it's something to do with that kind of nature, because when I look at this next scene with the women and the man who'd given the headphones, and they're taking part in some kind of parade, even though there's no one there to witness this parade, but normally parades are also about, you know, the town or the May king or queen. So there's something about being looked at in a certain way, perhaps being admired, feeling that for myself. And there's no one there to see it or even acknowledge it. And I do believe part of that is to do with the frozenness of the lower part of the body, the sensual nature type of thing. And that's about it, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Well, that's very good. I mean, everybody's really good. Gary or Roy, do you have any more thoughts about it after hearing? This is fleshing it out quite a bit.
No, I'm standing with my
Okay.
interpretation.
Okay, great. That's great, Gary. Thank you, Roy. How about you, Gary? You have any more thoughts?
No, I really enjoyed Zen's and Kat's contributions. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I did too. Both of them. Well, you know, just a little bit about that isn't the one I want. This one here about the headphone aspect, the solfeggio frequencies. You know, you listen. It's really the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and the sound frequencies of the six solfeggio frequencies were used in ancient Gregorian chants. That's the great hymn to John the Baptist. And the idea of the binaural, what they do with the binaural is there's like a mannequin, and they put a microphone in each ear of a mannequin, and then they'll play the music. But you can't hear it on the stereo. You can only hear it on the headphones. But there is a very mysterious relationship with Dawn and headphones. Dawn, are you still using headphones a lot? Yes, mostly. Okay. And how many hours a day do you think you use them? Oh, for music. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's just an idea of, I think it has been a refuge for you to some extent. I mean, one of the things that seems to happen is when you put on the, first of all, I think Azine said this a couple of weeks ago, a person who has a dream like this has a very high IQ. I think you said something like that, Azine, when we were listening to another Dawn's dreams. And I sense this too. I sense Dawn really tunes into some of this stuff, but I think that there's been an aspect of some aspects of her outer life. She can go here, and it's almost as if you're going into an active imagination. You know, there's an aspect here. This world with the headphones is not the same as that world out there. So then this guy that's helping us with the headphones and wants us to lie down. And then this is really, now I think the self knows what's wrong with us. You know, it doesn't have to ask the question, you know, what's wrong with you, but it wants you to tell it what you think is wrong with you. But it because we're not ready to answer it, we really have not grasped the problem. There's still an unconscious aspect there. See, the one who could answer the question would be the one who could stand back, get distance from themselves, and look back and see, and not be in an aspect of possession of some type, you know. So right now there's a little bit of the fact that the fact that we can't get out of the pit, you know, doesn't allow us the ability to see what ails us. You know, let's if we can't get out of the pit, how are we going to know what ails us? The self knows what ails us, but it wants us to express it. And at first we just name physical ailments, but it's not physical ailments, it's soulful ailments or spiritual ailments. That's the real problem. Why did we say physical ailments? It's our spirit and our soul that are grieving and in pain. Okay. Then the next aspect, I think, is this sort of a trickster figure, you know. I mean, he seems to have invited our pursuit, you know. Now one of the interesting things that he says there is do I win because I think you are so good? Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, Dawn? When you say that, do you have any way? Could you amplify that a little bit? Did I win because? Go ahead.
Sometimes when something's bad and I can't fix it, I need to look at it something that's not bad, so
Yeah.
it can be okay.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Well, and so this man tells us we win. And we're saying, how did we win? Is it because I think you're so good that you gave me the prize or said I win? But we didn't win. You know, he said that, and that's not true. We didn't win. There's an aspect of, and we know something deeper is going on. And he said that as sort of a trick, you know, a trick on us. But I think the idea was he wanted to let us into the building. Now, Azine, I think you have something to say. I'm just going on and on here. Oh, you don't? Okay, I thought you were having some say. Okay, well, let's just keep going then. So the idea there is, and the cat was getting close to what the procession meant, but the idea of, okay, what ails us is our soul, not our headaches or our physical ailments, whatever those are. And that is the question, that is the answer we should have given this master of the binaural hearing, of the solfeggio, okay? But then when we get in it seems the trickster at least got us into the house that has shown us what really ails us. Here's what ails us. The growing thing in us, the lower is stuck on one of it's on one side of the door and one of it's on the other, and we're stuck. We can't be in this world and we can't be in that world. We're just stuck at the threshold, completely immobilized at the threshold. Half of us is in one side and half of us is in the other. And the half of us, the lower half, which to me, Azine mentioned the mundane, but I think in the aspect that's not mundane, it is the instinctive aspect of us. And now the instinctive aspect is the biological aspect of us, and the archetypal aspect are instincts, but they have to do with a some type of a meaning aspect that is instinctual, you know, that is inherited from the ancestors, you know. And so those two aspects are frozen, you know. They come from the body, they're frozen. And so the other aspect of us, if this side does not thaw out, the other side can't live either. You know, we need to thaw out the instinctive bodily aspect of ourselves. You know, it's now this is not an atypical problem for human beings. Gary, you got that problem of the grounded, embodied aspect, and I think you've mentioned it. At one time, I think Roy has solved that problem a little bit, you know, more than you or maybe than I have. But it is a problem of modern day, is that this the lower half of our body is frozen. We don't even know it's an instinctive aspect. The emaciated dogs that come up from the basement and we haven't seen for 20 years. Well, I mean, and the processional aspect, I don't really get it. I don't completely fathom it. I think Kat got closer to anybody, but the idea of the procession, okay. Now the processional, now she says there's nobody watching it, but it is obviously for us. I mean, the procession is for us because this is our healer, and our healer, the feminine aspect of it is going to have a procession through the collective sphere, and it seems to be related to us. And the idea of the Salvation Army, okay, I don't think that means donations. I think it means the redemption. They are doing it to redeem. There's a redemptive aspect in this processional. And I think the Salvation Army is just a play on words, you know. that it means something to do with redeeming us. Okay, I want to hear somebody say, does anybody, how about you, Kat? Do you have any other thoughts about this that have been aroused?
I was gonna say, ask Dawn if when she listens to music, does she actually do any dancing? Actually,
Yeah.
I wondered about that. Really.
Is it dance music you listen to, Dawn, or do you dance, or what kind of music do you listen to?
I
Okay.
do dance, and I when I was sick, I think that's when it started, and I've gotten better. Um better. Like, I can be rigid. I can be really rigid and afraid to express myself, even when I'm by myself. But that's getting better, and it's getting better all the time.
Oh, that's
That
good. That sounds
Makes
great.
my heart warm, really.
Mm.
I'm really amazed by what Charles has done. What do you think about dance, Kat? Could you just kind of sum that up for us as the last wisdom here?
I don't know. I just feel like, do you know what? I feel the whole thing with that and that frozen body needs like a sort of gypsy Esmeralda quality to it. Do you know what I mean?
Beautiful.
That's but that, you know, that would be,
Warming.
yes,
It's full of heat,
yeah,
flamenco or something, just full of heat dance,
yeah.
Well, anyway, this is a very important dream, and we spent a lot of time on it, but maybe, hopefully somebody has some more about it later.
I just want to say that
Yeah, go ahead, Asin.
it's a brilliant idea, dancing. It merges the upper aspect of her that is heavenly and spiritual, and with the lower that is body and instinctive and stuff.
Yeah, and it's certainly not rigid.
It gives body to the head.
Yes,
Because
yes,
the head one is
exactly.
very much head, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, and I'm sure it's just my delusions of grandeur. But the idea of dance just suddenly gave me goose pimples and a very warm feeling in my heart, when I heard it. I think because it's the anti side of rigidity and inflexibility. Well, anyway,
Can I show you guys my young table?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Did you see it in the picture?
Yes,
Oh, that's lovely.
that is lovely. It's absolutely lovely.
It's pomegranate, seeds, the poetry. But Mitra
Yeah.
is very much archetypally is Jesus.
Yeah, my wife has dreams about pomegranates all the time.
Just
Well,
like-
anyway, everybody have a Merry Christmas, or just a well, it's the birth of light, and you can call it Christmas or whatever, but it is the birth of light. So that's why I don't care who you are, on the day of the birth of light. I always said that for me, every day was like Christmas Eve. And what I meant by that is full of expectations of something about to come.
And isn't it interesting that we celebrate the birth of light at the darkest and longest night?
Yes, on the darkest day is the deepest, most meaningful celebration. It is just beautiful. Well, we'll see you guys all next time. Thank you. This has been very uplifting to me.
Thank
Roy, and thank you, Roy,
Thank
for
you.
that great dream. Azine, Kat,
Thank you.
Dawn, and
Thank
Gary.
you.
Thank you,
Take
guys.
care, everybody.
Bye-bye
Ta-ra.
now.
Bye.
Bye.